Greens will today launch a $10 billion election bid to end public school fees. The party wants to eliminate hidden costs for families and pay parents an $800 annual allowance for every child. But critics from the major parties have called the plan economically reckless.
For more, we welcome journalists Sharon Hunt and Joe Hildebrand. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Joe, first up, many people may think public school is already free. So how necessary is this?
Yeah, look, it is free, but like with everything else, there's all sorts of little extras. So if you want to take your kids to the art classes after school, or pay for after-school care, or go on excursions, this is something that has come up time and time again. It's something my dad, the old bloody baby boomer hippie, he used to whinge about it all the time. And the Greens have obviously picked up on that. This is economically reckless, it's stupid, it's wasteful. Most people don't have any problem paying, $400, which is the average, for, the little extras and sundries it costs to send your kids to state school. There is no greater supporter of public schools than me. I love them, I went to them. But the idea that you'll be giving people who might otherwise be millionaires extra money to pay for things that they can easily afford is insane. It is obviously completely in keeping with the Greens, who are the party of the upper middle class left. But if people genuinely can't afford it, there are usually avenues by which they can get assistance already. You can make those easier. You can also have back to school, vouchers and stuff in times of economic hardship, and that's fine. But to bake this into the budget is yet another sort of pipe dream that only someone who is horrendously out of touch with mainstream Australia would come up with. And they have.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay. Never would have picked you as the son of a boomer hippie.
That's what I'm rebelling against.
You're the poster boy. Sharon, these are costly promises, $10 billion to the nation's finances over the forward estimates. Can we afford to make such sweeping changes?
Doesn't it sound like a great headline in a election year? $10 billion for parents, for schools. And when I think about it as a parent of two kids in state schools, I'm like, oh, $800 per child. I like that in my pocket. But do I think that this is money well spent? Absolutely not. I've just come from doing childcare fees where it's hundreds of dollars a day. Spending $400 a year on kids, that equates to about $10 a term. That's more than less than people spend on coffee a year, on a week, sorry. And the thing is, I think if you're going to somehow conjure up this money, who knows how they're even going to conjure it up? They're talking about a super tax on corporations, who knows? If they do somehow come up with this money, it would be much better spent giving it to the schools, using it for school facilities, educators. That is way better spent than giving $800 to each to parents who are going to spend it as they need.
All right, let's move on. And the owners of a struggling vegan restaurant on the Sunshine Coast have gone viral after asking for $500,000 in donations to stay open. The couple who bought the restaurant in July last year have said they would use the money to renovate the restaurant and expand the business. Sharon, they're not the first ones to take this route. What do you think about this concept?
Look, if you don't ask, you don't get, right? So that's where they're coming from. They've put their hand out, they've tipped their hat out in the street and seeing who's going to pile in. Now, if there are people out there who don't see all the red flags, the fact that these people have run their business into the ground in 6 months, that they don't seem to have a very clear business plan. Is it a business? Is it a yoga studio? Is it a food truck? But they are like, you know
Joe,
what?
This is serious television. Stop.
Give us $500,000. Putting it out there, who wants to give us money? They have already raised nearly $1,000. That's $1,000 more than I would have expected they would have.
Okay, Joe, the couple
Unfortunately, we don't have time for you, Joe.
The couple is copping a lot of flack online.
No, really? Why? That's not the Australia I know.
There is a risk, isn't there, when you go public asking for money?
Heaven.
Like, you've got to be prepared for the blowback. There's nothing wrong with asking.
There's nothing wrong with asking at all, and I believe the Greens are rustling up the money even as we speak. It is just amazing that you could be so kind of enmeshed in your own bubble, completely isolated. To think in the middle of the cost of living crisis, you would be asking people to stump up money to donate to your failed business so you can turn it into a yoga centre and place of connection. Like,
what would your
if you want a place of connection, get a phone charger from Kmart.
What would your boomer hippie dad say?
He would be there. He would be playing guitar in the corner. Maybe a bit of Dylan.
Downward dog.
Finally, a woman has reignited an age-old debate over child-free weddings. The disgruntled mum explained on Reddit that her exceptionally well-behaved 2-year-old is not allowed to attend her brother's wedding. And as a result, she won't be attending either. Joe, who is in the right here? So this is like the little boy attending his uncle's wedding. He's 2.
I don't know if it's possible to hate both sides as much as I actually do. Firstly, if you are taking your family dispute to Reddit, that's it. The family's over. You're not going to any weddings ever again. The brother is obviously being a complete knobhead about it because I want to have a classy, adult, stylish wedding. Like, who says that? Like, as if a wedding isn't just where everyone just gets drunk and if you end up in the same sort of bed as your bride, then everything's gone according to plan. That's all you really ask for. Come on, I'm a Catholic. I'm just saying you've got to get there eventually.
At least you said bride and not mother-in-law.
or groomsmen.
or groomsmen. But then the sister, who is the only sibling who is making a big deal of this, so now her parents have come up and pressured her. And so, of course, she's gone to Reddit to have a passive-aggressive whinge about it. It's like going to social media, you don't say anything at the restaurant. I was just sitting at this cafe and they said that my toddler wasn't allowed to take a dump on the coffee table. It's like... the minute you're on the internet,
you are a
it's
twisted
over.
biscuit, Joe. Sharon, some people were sitting at home going, get a babysitter for a couple of hours and make it... But the mother in question is saying she hasn't used a babysitter, left the child with a babysitter before.
I get that. I understand that people don't want to use a babysitter. Personally, I think it's a bride and groom's big day, not the sister of the groom's big day. And if the couple want a child-free wedding, you should respect those wishes. I've done it like I've rented a hotel room down the road from a wedding when I was breastfeeding and gone backwards and forwards. I've flown relatives with me interstate so I can attend a wedding and know that my kids are in safe hands. I think you just need to get a bit creative, that there are ways around it.
So you're okay with the concept?
I'm okay with the concept. I think that there is a place for adult celebrations and that if that's someone's wishes and they're stumping up the bill, most likely, then you should respect
Although,
that.
to be fair, I wanted a child-free marriage and I didn't get that, so why?
Sharon, thank you. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you again, Joe Hildebrand.